Welcome, my dear friends. Welcome to today's session. In last session, we understood about permeability of the concrete. I'll just refresh the meaning of permeability again. Permeability of the concrete means the penetration or how easily water or any liquid or any chemical flows inside the concrete. That's called as the permeability property or characteristics of the concrete. We want as a goal of durable concrete, we need impermeable concrete. So concrete must be impermeable if you want a good durability of the concrete, right? Now if we see that permeability was one of the reason or causes of lack of durability, or you can say one of the factor which is affecting the durability of the concrete. Now if you see what are the effects of failure of durability, right? When you say failure of durability, it means the concrete is allowing water to go inside, or it is allowing any kind of physical, environmental or chemical attacks, and it is deforming. What is this? The cracks. The cracks, the major reason of the crack many times is a change in volume of the concrete, because as we know, concrete is a solid which is not good in tension, but it can withstand the compression. That means it can take vertical loads provided it has a sufficient base as well. But when there is no base or a loose base, the load comes, the concrete will start acting in a tension member, as if the crack will start from where the concrete starts expanding. Either it may be a top surface or it may be a bottom surface. So that is the first loaded cracks, right? Or crack due to loads. But I'm not going only on this topic. We'll talk about all kind of cracks and how the cracks are formed, right? So now we'll see whenever there is a crack or a deformation of the concrete, the primary reason of concrete failure, or you can say concrete cracks, that either the concrete got change in the volume, or some external forces or load has applied on the concrete surface, which is not concrete is designed for. Correct? So most of the times, generally we see cracks because of sudden change in volume in the concrete. This will be a quite confusing statement for you, that how the concrete will change its volume by itself. When you see for this, I can better explain you that we did one small experiment, that we made 1 meter by 1 meter by 200 form. We poured concrete. We left it to dry or set. I'm not talking about other aspects, curing and strength and all. We took a concrete and we allowed it to set. With the very next day, we saw the side of the concrete form was already left because of volume. The concrete got shrunk. Okay, and as it was cast on the slab or floor, there was no bent or de-bent deformation, but it was a flat, but it was volume wise, it was this, the sides were shrunk by almost 1 mm, unless until you have something bonding agent or some nails or some external bodies which are stuck up in the concrete. The form can come very easily because it's already got debonded because of a minute shrunk always. And volume will always affect by, or volume will get affected many times by wind, temperature, sun rays or sunlight, direct sunlight, or any other physical movement happened during concrete. Now, as I mentioned, wind, yes, when the wind blows, the surface of the concrete start drying immediately. When sunlight comes, the surface of the concrete start drying immediately. Like that, volume will get affected by these all issues. Right? And whenever there is an unplanned volume change in the concrete, the cracks will occur on the surface. So what is called as unplanned volume change? That means the concrete as a thickness, only surface will start drying or shrinking faster than its core or a underneath area, core area. So what is obstructing to what is obstructing the crack to go till the end or till the full depth? That is rebar, reinforcement bars, or any other substances which, unless until it obstructs or restrains the crack to develop, the concrete cracks will not form. Whenever certain unwanted things or foreign substances inside the concrete will not allow the concrete to shrink, and surface is shrinking faster, then there will be cracks will get developed. Yeah. How the cracks will start developing? That whenever the surface of the concrete will start shrinking faster than its core. How? That core substances or core ingredients inside the concrete will not allow, because they are not set, they will not allow the concrete to expand or contract much before their setting time. But the surface has started setting faster than it. So what happens? The restraints will occur. The objections, they will hinder the process of shrinking. Right? So what happens? The crack starts developing. Like, if you don't want to shrink, don't shrink. I am going to shrink by myself. So that kind of argument happens between the top surface and the core, and the crack starts. And that is why it is called as crack, because arguments, clashes between the top surface and the cores. Right? Now, what does the sources say about this cracking? If a concrete is either cooled or dried, and after that some restraint comes, the crack formation will be reduced. But the restraints or the foreign substances doesn't allow the concrete to shrink or expand as per its external attacks or external effects, then cracks will develop. Right? So, if the shrinkage is not happened till the depth at a time, then cracks will go in haphazard way. Because wherever it is shrinking, wherever it is asking, wherever it is supporting, it will go in that pattern. And if we allow the concrete to behave as per our controlled conditions, then we can avoid around 70 to 80% of this type of cracks happening. And because it acts as a form of internal restraint, reinforcement governs the spacing and widths of the crack in hardened concrete, but reinforcement does not have the same effect in plastic concrete. Once the concrete sets, and if any crack happens, reinforcement will take that shocks and it will avoid the crack further development, but it cannot help to avoid the crack developing during plastic or a wet stage of the concrete. Right? Now, how this cracks will be assessed? Usually assessment of the cracks will be based on viewing distance and personal viewpoint. Personal viewpoint in the sense, it is not like I think it will be like this, it's not like that. There will be a crack measuring gauge. You will poke it inside the crack. We will see the width of the crack in the microns, depth of the crack in microns or millimeters or centimeters. Based on that, crack will be assessed. Correct? The severity or depth of the crack. Next, the type of structure, that is often using arbitrary or prestige scale. Prestige scale is that the importance of the structure, the importance of that particular slab or element, how important, how serious it is. Many times you might have seen for the floor slab, if it cracks, generally we will end up in doing some grouting or screeding or something. But if it is a slab crack, we generally go for some structural repairs or structural designer concurrence, etc. That is how it is, based on the type of structure and importance of the structure, how prestige or how important it is. The cracks will be divided in certain criteria or types of the cracks, like classifications, like fine crack, wide crack and fractures. If a crack is 1 mm wide, then possibility of that crack will be that it will be less depth as compared to the serious cracks. The wide cracks are from 1 mm to 6 mm, where the depth will be accordingly larger, and the chances of this kind of cracks are more that it will reach the cover portion. And fractures are more serious structure of the cracks, because they are wider than 6 mm, and there are short chances of through and through cracks for the entire depth of the slab are more. There will be short chances. So it is suggested that whenever we see any kind of cracks or any kind, first assess the crack as per its classification, and then you send that classification report based on the critical weaving distance, size and depth of the crack, classification of the crack and type of the structure or importance of the structure. You share this report to designer and let designer consider that whether how serious these cracks are. And most importantly, sometimes or the importance of the structures, irrespective of its classification, the cracks are not acceptable because of aesthetical appearance conditions. Because I don't want to see any cracks in my structure or on a surface, many times it will be as exposed condition of the concrete, there no coatings are going to come, I cannot accept any cracks on that, right? So even the limit, even I am saying that fine cracks are 1 mm wide, the designers or architects will not accept less than more than 0.3 mm. Even if it is 0.3 mm or 300 microns, designer will not accept these cracks because they are aesthetically unacceptable to the designer. That is what I am calling as a critical viewing distance or personal viewpoint. Let us understand the expert's opinion about deformation of the concrete. As per Mr. A.M. Neville, it says, the addition to the deformation caused by the applied stress, volume changes due to shrinkage, and temperature variation are the considerable importance because in practice those movements are usually partly or wholly restrained and therefore they induce stresses. These stresses we categorize like shrinkage and thermal changes as independent of the stress. The real life situation is unfortunately not so simple. Why it is not so simple? Because the shrinkage and thermal movements are sometimes out of our control. You cannot plan them and you cannot act them as happening as per your plan, right? Shrinkage or thermal movements. So that is why we have to monitor the happenings, monitor the ground realities, monitor the ground situation before going for the concreting or during concreting or after concreting, depend on the monitoring plan. Now, there are some cracks observed after hardening. What are those kind of cracks? The structural cracks, maybe a design load, creep, accidentally overrode, right? There are some thermal cracks, that is early age thermal contraction, which is happened in the core but we didn't observe. That is what I was calling as thermal movement. So thermal movement happened in between, so we didn't observe, it started propagating to the top. Internal temperature gradients, and the last one is physical crack, which was maybe during drying shrinkage. We will learn this drying shrinkage, plastic shrinkage in the next part. That is also called as crazing. Okay, now the root cause of this structural crack, thermal crack, physical crack, the root cause, if you go like, if you dig out, then you may get the answers like external regional temperature variation, seasonal temperature variation, freeze and thaw cycles, construction process, supporting process, formwork movement, subgrade or base structure movement. You can come out with some kind of root cause analysis if you dig out. The cracks during before hardening, that is in a wet condition, generally it has been nominated as plastic cracks, or you can call it as a plastic shrinkage or a plastic settlement cracks. The root cause: wind, sunlight exposure, daytime concreting, hot temperature concreting, right? Aggregate is comparatively hotter or hot, the water is more than its temperature required. So any factor which is resulting concrete to set faster than it's designed will be shrinkage, will lead to shrinkage. There may be some admixture effects also. You cannot deny that. There may be admixtures which will contribute towards faster shrinkage. So that condition as well. So we saw the type of cracks, and in further stages we will move to the causes of cracks, why they occur, and how can they treated or avoided. Right? Stay tuned.